hate not being able to fall asleep, and it's never when I have nothing going on the next day. I'm pretty sure tossing and turning just makes things worse. Today, I'm going to teach you how to fall asleep faster. Also, if somebody promises you that you can fall asleep in 2 minutes, 1 minute, or instantly, they're scamming you. That's not a thing unless you have a health condition or you're sleep deprived. But at the same time, you shouldn't be tossing and turning for more than 20 to 30 minutes. If you want to learn how to fall asleep faster, keep on watching. So firstly, you need to quiet your mind. A lot of times I have trouble falling asleep because I'm too anxious and I have a lot of thoughts just rolling around in my head. One thing that I do that I picked up during yoga is to work on breathing exercises. And I hated working on breath work. I thought it was too much work, even though I breathe by myself all the time. But I had classes where we would sit and just focus on the breath for 5 or 10 minutes. And slowly but surely, I'm kind of getting in the swing of things a little bit more. I don't love it, but I also don't hate it. And as a bonus, if I'm having trouble sleeping, this works really well. So I'm pretty sure that the exact technique that you use doesn't matter dramatically as far as how you do it or what number that you count to. The biggest part is making sure that you breathe in through your nose and then exhale through your mouth, and that you concentrate on the breath. There's a few different techniques that you can try if you want to get started. One of them is the box technique. And the way that this works is that you think of each part of the breath as one side of a box. So you inhale, you hold your breath, you exhale, and then you hold your breath before inhaling again. And you do this all for the same count. And you just keep repeating that until you start to feel sleepy. And I found if I'm feeling anxious, the act of concentrating on the breath really helps slow my mind, and the deep breaths help me to feel more calm. The problem that I have with this though is it doesn't work 100% for me. If I am feeling really, really anxious or there's something that's really bothering me, sometimes I find that I split my thoughts, I guess would be the best way to explain it. So I'm concentrating on my breath, but I'm also partially still thinking about the thing that bothers me. And because of that, I can't always get into the groove of things, and I end up more frustrated than when I started. For scenarios like that, what I really like are the sleep stories in the Calm app. And the way that this works is that in a soothing and calm voice, a narrator reads you a story. There's a couple different kinds to choose from. One are nonfiction books in which the story has been modified from its original version to make you more sleepy. Having something else to focus on as far as narration and just the soothing voice, if I'm feeling really anxious, gives me something else to concentrate on, whereas just focusing on the breathing isn't enough to direct my attention towards. So I found a lot of the times that if I do these sleep stories, that by having something else to focus on, it helps to make me more relaxed. Another kind of sleep story that they offer are, I guess the best way to explain it is, you are the main character and it's very dreamlike. So the way that this story works is that it describes you in a very, very descriptive situation. So they have common themes. A lot of times you're on a train ride or you're in nature, and the soothingness and having something to imagine in your head helps me to transition to sleep a lot more easily. Something else that I really like if I'm feeling more stressed than anxious are the Mega Rhythm steam masks. And what these are individually wrapped masks, and there's a chemical in them that when it's exposed to air reacts and heats up. And I find this very, very soothing and relaxing if my difficulty getting to sleep is more based off of stress. The warmth of the mask helps me to calm down, especially if I've done a lot of computer work that day and I have eye strain, the warmth of the mask helps my eyes to relax, which helps me to relax. Blue light is bad. So I have this theory. It's you can either play on your phone until bedtime or you can get to sleep quickly, and you only get to pick one. And this even includes using blue light blocking glasses. So my goal is that about an hour before I go to bed, sometimes even a little bit more, I like to dim down the lights and turn off all of my devices. And the nights that I do this versus the nights that I'm on my phone, even with my blue light blocking glasses on, I notice a difference for how quickly I'm able to fall asleep. So that's something to think about as well. If you're like, but I'm not on my phone, I'm not on the computer or on the TV, one thing that you need to consider as well is what you have as far as the overhead light situation goes. A lot of times the house is lit up like it's friggin' Christmas, and there's really no need for me to have so many lights on when I'm trying to get to bed. Caffeine before bed. This is something that I have worked really hard on for a long time. I tend to want to prop myself up during the end of the day, and I know a lot of people are in the same boat. Back in the before times, before this pandemic started, so often I would see people having highly caffeinated drinks in the late afternoon, and I would constantly ask people like, hey, aren't you gonna have trouble falling asleep? And they'd always tell me like, oh, caffeine doesn't affect me, as they have like a giant coffee or energy drink or whatever. So something that you need to consider is it takes a lot of time for the caffeine to get out of your system. So the half-life of caffeine is 5 to 6 hours. So what that means is it takes that amount of time to decrease in your body by half. So for example, if you have a cup of coffee at 5 p.m., that's like chugging a can of Coke right before you go to bed, which I think most people would agree like is insane. Most people wouldn't do that, but yet a lot of people also wouldn't hesitate to have like a 4 or 5 p.m. cup of coffee. Invest in a quality bed. So back in the day, I had a mattress and I couldn't afford a new one. And it was a spring mattress, and there was a spring that would poke me in the middle of the back. And I would try and shift myself and lay around the spring. But oftentimes I was contorting myself in ways that really wasn't comfortable. And then a lot of times I would shift during the night and I would wake up with the spring poking me in the back. And it was awful. And at the time, I didn't have money to buy a new mattress. The surface that you sleep on makes a pretty big difference as far as the quality of your sleep. A mattress is a pretty big purchase, and not a lot of people can just go up and buy a new mattress if they need to. So I did something in college, and I cannot believe how well it worked. So I couldn't afford a new mattress, so I bought a mattress topper, and I think the one that I purchased, I want to say it was 4 to 5 inches of memory foam, and the difference was night and day. The spring was no longer poking me in the back. So if you are in that kind of situation, try that out, and I think that'll be really helpful. Also, something else to look into are your bed accessories. So sheets, pillow, blanket. For me, I am a mash my face into the pillow kind of sleeper. It's usually halfway between on my stomach and on my side, and having a pillow that's supportive enough really helps me to get to sleep instead of trying to find a way that's comfortable. Also, something else that really affects you is your blanket. So for me, I'm kind of crazy. I can't have my feet uncovered. If they come uncovered during the middle of the night, I will wake up. So one thing that I've done is that I have a queen size bed, but all my blankets are king size because the extra blanket helps to make sure that I'm covered. Obviously, if you're a hot sleeper, maybe get something that is a little bit more breathable. Another thing that I dealt with a lot in the past is playing cover wars with significant others in the bed. And one thing that I've done that I've also had really good luck with is to have 2 blankets. And then that way I've got my own blanket. Cause if my feet come uncovered, if somebody rips the blanket off of me, I'm waking up. So having that was super, super helpful. I also want to take a minute to talk about sleeping pills and melatonin. I know it can be really tempting to just want to take a pill and not have to kind of do the work that making sure that you get a good night's worth of sleep entails. But I really, really don't like taking anything to help me fall asleep. Sleeping pills have crazy side effects like sleepwalking and just other weird things. And for me, personally, taking a sleeping pill would be an absolute last resort. Melatonin, I hate melatonin. I have never gotten a good night's sleep while I've taken it. I've taken it a handful of times, and every time I've taken it, I've had some of the most restless sleep that I've ever had. So at this point, I've just thrown away the bottle. I'm not gonna buy it again because it disrupts my sleep that much. Something else that I've done if I've absolutely needed to fall asleep is I've taken a Benadryl a couple times in the past because it's the exact same ingredients that are in ZzzQuil, but I'm so groggy when I wake up that it's really not worth it to me. Some things that I do if I need a little bit of extra oomph to try to fall asleep, I really like Natural Calm. It's a magnesium supplement, and the magnesium helps you to be more relaxed, which makes it easier to fall asleep. Something else that I really like is sleepy tea. My favorite kind is the Caramel Bedtime by Yogi, and it is my absolute favorite. What I'll normally do is that I will brew a cup and then I will drink it immediately before going to sleep. I found in my experience that if you have it immediately before going to sleep, it makes you more relaxed, so it's easier to fall asleep. If I have it and then I go do something else like, I don't know, my bedtime routine or some fold laundry or something, then it doesn't tend to work as well. Also, weird thing, apparently bananas are a thing for helping you to go to sleep. I've never heard of that before, but allegedly it's supposed to be effective. Actually, I'm kind of curious. So if you'd like me to do a video saying if bananas are actually effective for helping you go to sleep, comment and let me know because it seems weird and I kind of want to try it. More than anything else, I think you need to look at what the underlying cause for you having difficulty falling asleep is. If you don't have any clue, the 2 things that I would start with is caffeine and blue light, and seeing if that makes a difference. Of course, medical conditions exist as well, so if you suspect that you have something else going on, go to a doctor, get checked out, make sure that there's something not more serious that you've got going on. From my own experience and a lot of people I've talked to, a lot of issues with falling asleep come down to what you do before you get under the covers. Obviously, there are a lot more things that would just be way too long to put into one video. So if you want a part 2, comment and let me know. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up so I know you liked it. And if you also want to be a well-rested human, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell so you get notified every time I upload. Sweet dreams!